13th of December, military personnel raided one of the business premises of the leadership of the National Unity Platform.
Honorable, that's not part of my communication.
I'm coming up with a procedure matter.
No. You see, this is a reaction to my communication. You must limit yourself to what I've communicated.
Communication, I noted one thing unseen, that this year, the Speaker in the chair, you, and Madam Speaker, the Right Honorable Anita Mo, you did a good service to this country by passing so many good bills that I believe will help our people in Uganda. And Mr. Speaker...
Honorable, it's you who passed the bills, not...
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a presiding officer, I cannot cross to 2025 without appreciating you. You're a blessing to this country, and therefore... And Mr. Speaker, also at the same time, I want to appreciate the parliamentary sports team that went to Mombasa of Guru, whereby my sister and good friend Namuga was one of the best players. The fact I appreciate LOP for having allowed your people to go to Guru to play in all the sports. This is...
We had no sports in Guru, Mombasa.
Mr. Speaker, I'm calling it Guru because Mombasa is nearer than Guru of Uganda. But however, I want to appreciate the National Unity Platform for having allowed its members to go and participate in the parliamentary games. This is a demonstration that there are people who are patriotic, who love their country, and the trophies that we have brought, I believe, will make the flag of Uganda fly high. Thank you very, very much for participating in that.
Thank you, Chiboga. Thank you.
As Kofi, the Honorable Macho vulgarizing this wonderful sport. It's not merely about competition. It is about fostering unity, deepening and widening the integration, and also nurturing talent. Mr. Speaker, on the issue you raised of the online lending scam, it bears a very close similarity with what the honorable member of Katikamu was raising. Chirumira, the Honorable Chirumira. What happened in Busabala is of physical, the one of online are invisible. But these particular ones in Busabala, and it happened yesterday evening, are of physical, armed, and uniformed, aimed as we talk. And this is a matter that is a matter of urgent public importance, Mr. Speaker, which requires investigation, and even the perpetrators of this terrorist action should be brought to book. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Now, sometimes, okay, to explain, but when you bring it under my communication, it's just a comment. It is just a comment. That's what I was emphasizing, Honorable Chirumira. When you bring such a matter, it should be a question to a minister to explain on why this happened.
To also congratulate the Ugandan team that participated in the East African Legislative Assembly Games, and to welcome you back from Mombasa. However, Right Honorable Speaker, the year is coming to an end sitting because not all members of parliament actually participate. Majority of us actually remained here, over 300 members of parliament. So I am just requesting, Right Honorable Speaker, that as we move to the 15th Iyala Games, even when the games are going on, let business continue. Because we have issues, we have motions, and we are going into elections, Right Honorable Speaker. By next year, April, you may not see members here. We have a lot of pending motions before you on your desk, not yet handled. So I want just to plead that even when there are Iyala Games, the House should continue with its business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Nakut.
Honorable members of Parliament, pursuant to Rule 128, and honorable members, The bill is duly accompanied by the certificate of financial implication in compliance with the Rule 176 of the Public Finance Management Act 2020.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I refer the bill to the Committee on Defence and Internal Affairs for process.
People's Defence Forces Amendment Bill 2024.
Procedure, Honourable.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for bringing the UPDF amendments with hoods. During the day indicated she was coming to respond. She is now here. Can I hear whether that is actually one of the amendments in the bill? Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
No, I don't want to ambush a minister here. Let her prepare her response. No. Thank you.
To move that the National Sports Amendment Bill be read for the first time. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, the bill is duly accompanied by the Certificate of Financial Implication in compliance with Section 76 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 118 of the Rules of Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, with your permission, allow me move a motion for the suspension of Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, before you reverse the bill.
Honourable, I haven't allowed you. You asked and I haven't allowed you. So, reading. Okay? Otherwise, we'll have jumped a critical stage.
Sports Amendment Bill 2024.
Thank you. So, Honourable Minister.
In consideration of the bill by the House without referral to the committee. Right Honourable Speaker, the justification for the National Sports Act with the World Anti-Doping Code and the UNESCO International Convention Against Doping. Uganda, with this requirement list, we risk losing the hosting rights of CHAN, AFCON, and other. I'm aware that the House might go into recess, so I beseech the August House to directly consider the bill before. The bill has 4 clauses, all related to the amendment to align with the law with the global anti-doping standards.
Then I will allow. Then I will put a question. Because I should put a question on whether the motion is seconded, but you see, members should know what they are seconding before anything else.
Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, bring the National Sports Bill for enactment by this House. At the time of bringing this bill, we did make mention to the requirements to comply with the World Anti-Doping Code. Upon sending the bill back to the World Anti-Doping Association, they required that certain aspects be specifically stated in the bill, and particularly stating that the code, this particular code, will be adopted in as far as doping. So the 4 provisions that we are dealing with in this bill relate to introducing the code for anti-doping into the law, specifically for that purpose. And secondly, they required that there must be clarity on the issue of the independence of the body that is handling anti-doping. Say that we need to state clearly that it is independent. So those are the 2 aspects, and they all relate to compliance with the World Anti-Doping Code.
The Minister of Education possessed the bill. We have not been involved. And the Attorney General, specifically looking at you, as you also do the same. You know that when you are looking at the law, sections of the law always move within others as you try to interpret them. So we had very serious clauses on anti-doping on the bill, the act we passed, assented by the powers that may be. So how does our side come in to prove what you are saying, and what's the urgency? What's the urgency of this bill? May I would pray, give this committee time by suspending a rule on a matter which is not so urgent. Where is the urgency for this amendment?
You to have a full stop. They are saying for your sports people to participate in this. Okay? So would it be, the issue is on the urgency.
When the minister moved for the first reading, the bill has not been accepted, so we cannot even proceed to that next. It is proper that procedures are followed. It's not proper for the minister to come and hurry. If the executive has any issue then they can stand out and move that motion, and then we can then consider that motion.
No, Honorable Jonathan, I'm the one who guided that way. I called it. So on reference, okay, this is where if I refer it to the committee, now you go through the process of getting it from the committee back to the House. So I had not yet referred it. But the moment on the floor to move, I stopped him. I said, you cannot continue before the clerk can read that for satisfaction of my colleagues for the record. Yes.
The National Sports Amendment Bill 2020.
For satisfaction of my colleagues for the record. Yes.
The National Sports Amendment Bill 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the table an addendum to the proposal to borrow up to special drawing rights 374.8 million, an equivalent of United States dollars 518 million, and receive a grant of special drawing rights of 34.8 million, an equivalent to US dollars 48 million from the International Development Association of the World Bank Group, and borrow up to euros 40 million, an equivalent of $42.66 million from AFD to finance the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program, GKMA. I beg to lay right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The Committee on Presidential Affairs in consultation with the Committee on Presidential Affairs as per Rule 155.2 of our rules of procedure.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay on the table the proposal to borrow up to euros 45 million from AFD to support the Kampala Water Lake Victoria Water and Sanitation 2 KWLV Watson 2 project. I beg to lay.
The proposal is referred to the Committee on National Economy, and yeah. But you see, this is the work main of the Committee on National Economy. The sector committees, I think you could even do joint meeting, because the sector committee only needs to look at the work plan to know, is it within our work plans? But the borrowing and all that is scrutinized by the Committee on National Economy. So this shouldn't be disturbing us that much. Honorable Megade, Vice Chair, National Economy.
Thank Pharaohs to two committees like our rules do stipulate, and the chairpersons of sector committees have tried to bring reports to the Committee on National Economy. So this actually, one or the other, hinders progress, because we normally wait for the sector committee. The perception they have been taking is that we have to wait as national economy. And so when you give us 45 days, for example, to report, then the other sector committee takes 20 days and national economy is waiting. So it's good to harmonize. It's good that you have communicated that way, and I'm sure all of us have heard.
Yeah, why this came up, we were having issues where the sector committees would be saying that, look, we don't even know about their own should be within the work plan of that ministry's budget, okay? And then the national economy will go to scrutinize the terms and all that. So if the sector committee is going to go through all that, it would be a problem. The report should come as one, and it should be read by national economy. Sector committees shouldn't be bringing here. But honorable colleagues, we are going to lose time if I open this. We are going to have a debate on rules. So I hope these are issues which we can capture under rules in case there are gaps. Next.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Rule 8 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I beg to lay on table the National Budget Framework Paper for financial year 2025-2026 to financial year 2029-2030. I beg to lay.
Yes, Honorable Mpuga, procedure.
As well as everyone else, that the National Development Plan is not yet approved and not yet laid before Parliament. The minister has laid the cat, and the horse is not show. Honourable Speaker, is the minister proceeding well in laying a BFP without first laying the ND, the National Development Plan for? Because then, what is the BFP feeding into or picking from?
Thank you, Honorable Mpuga, you are right, but I'm going to amend the order paper to allow the National Development Plan for to be presented today here. And then once it is laid on table, I'll give guidance. And the guidance I wanted to give is going to sort out the issue you are raising. Okay? I just want us to receive the budget framework paper. We receive the National Development Plan for, and then I guide on how to be processed to ensure we cure that anomaly. Yeah, you'll be waiting. Thank you.
I wanted the minister to clarify the relevance of operating through these sector-based committees when we have transitioned into program-based budgeting, because you are laying a budget framework paper under sector, and we still operate in committees that are sector-based, when we have already transitioned into program-based budgeting. Could you clarify on that?
I can see the minister is looking at me. Okay? Yes. The minister is looking at me. You remember last finance, and it started it, and it gave feedback. So, and Attorney General and Minister for Finance, he said, bring an amendment to the PFMA, okay, so that we can, because the PFMA talks of sectors, okay, the way it is now. It talks of sectors. So, as long as we don't amend the PFMA, on our side, we cannot amend our rules to provide for programs, committees based on programs. So the area you do that, the better. But honorable chairpersons who get problems, please, once you're processing and you get a problem, and you come, we guide you on how to handle. Last year we got a problem. I think it was the Committee on Presidential Affairs and the Committee on Physical Infrastructure, processing the budget for Kampala city infrastructure budget. The ones of infrastructure, it's a program for them, but they were saying they don't see money. So the one of presidential also was failing. So we agreed that since presidential has been looking after Kampala, let it handle. But the area which were this, the better, okay? Minister, you also wanted to add something on that?
Mr. Speaker, that the Public Finance Management Act defines a sector, and a sector means a group of institutions or votes that have common functions, objectives, and mandates.
So you think, Honorable Abdu, our chair committee on rules, do you think, because Honorable Abdu and team scrutinized that deeply, okay? And they are the ones who discovered that anomaly. Please, Honorable Abdu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think the minister is trying to be clever, but not to fool.
Mr. Speaker, the budget framework paper laid is accompanied by the following. in fulfilling the requirements of the law. One is the certificate of climate change responsive budget framework paper. I beg to lay. Certificate of climate change. How the national budget framework paper speaks or responds to the climate change issues. I beg to lay. Mr. Speaker, I also beg to lay a certificate of gender and equity compliance to the national budget framework paper. I beg to lay. Mr. Speaker, there is always a question in the public that what is in the budget framework paper? And I beg the indulgence of the House that I briefly mention a few things the budget framework paper emphasizes on. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, the theme of the budget for financial year 2025-6 remains full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening social services, digital transformation, and market access. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform the House that as we shall subsequently lay the NDP4, I wish to inform the House that this national budget framework paper has been prepared in consistency with the National Development Plan 4, which we want to lay shortly. It is also consistent with the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility and satisfies the requirements of the gender equity, responsiveness, and balanced development. It is in two parts. Part 1 highlights the economic growth strategy, the medium-term macroeconomic forecasts, the medium-term fiscal framework, and forecast compliance with the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, the resource envelope for financial year 2025-6, the policy measures, medium-term expenditure framework for 25-6, and the fiscal risks and mitigation measures. And Part 2 provides details of the proposed program plans and interventions. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to reaffirm to the House that Uganda's economy has fully recovered and is on the right growth path, driven by investments in the tenfold economic growth areas. Currently, there is high business and investment optimism in Uganda, with inflation contained at 2.9%, way below the policy target of 5%. Mr. Speaker, sir, in line with the tenfold growth strategy, the 4th National Development Plan and the NRM Manifesto, and the guidance by His Excellency the President, the financial year 2025-6 budget will continue to prioritize the following economic fundamentals. 1 is the peace and security, roads, railways, electricity, irrigation, reducing cost of capital, human capital development in health, education, water, international relations, and disaster management. This will be driven by the full monetization of the economy implemented through the ATMs, that is agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral-based industrial development, science, technology, and innovations, including information, communication technology, as well as creative art industry. Mr. Speaker,
Honourable Minister, it seems to be a long statement.
Mr. Speaker, I am trying to summarize my statement, and I wish to also add that our preliminary resource envelope is 57.441 trillion, and we shall raise this money through domestic and external sources. And I wish to also inform the House that in the next financial year, we don't intend to introduce new taxes. We shall only do the bills to clean up, but there will not be any new tax introduced next financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, in summary, as I conclude, maintaining macroeconomic stability is good for economic growth and fiscal sustainability, including keeping prudent debt levels. Therefore, I call upon all the stakeholders to support this budget framework paper and also contribute to its financing. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. So the budget framework paper